Today, we are going to be joined by Rosette Ali and Ashedzi Ayuba-Kuwu, who are both from our FashMash Young Pioneers mentoring scheme, and they're both brilliant individuals in their own right. So what a perfect opportunity to discuss empowering female talent with them. Before we go any further, I wanted to thank our sponsor, Klaviyo. They have been with us for over a year now and are integral to FashMash. They are an e-commerce marketing platform for brands of all types, shapes and sizes, from 111 Skin to Hummingbird Bakery to FashMash. We use them for our email marketing, and we've been so impressed by the precision targeting that they offer, and also plenty of insight so we can work out what's working and what's not. So thank you to Klaviyo. If you would like to give them a free trial, just go to klaviyo.com/fashmash. That's KLAVIYO.com/fashmash.
Brilliant. So we held a really very special edition of our FashMash Focus Roundtable series last week. As many of you will know, these are our closed sessions that we hold with members every month. And this time we did it by reuniting some of the female young pioneers, so from our mentoring scheme, that ran earlier this year in celebration of the brilliant breakfast scheme, which was raising money for the Prince's Trust Women Supporting Women initiative, which we are fully behind. FashMash has made a donation as well, and if anybody else would like to give a donation, we will be sharing the link to do so on our stories following this conversation, so you can do so there. Now, with this incredible group of young women, two of whom are joining us shortly, we spent an hour discussing all sorts of different things. A big part of it was the wins of 2021, really thinking and trying to celebrate everything that has gone well for each of us individually, the progress that each and every one of them have made since our mentoring scheme wrapped up. It's super interesting to obviously be able to reconnect with people after a few months and just hear progress, and there has been a phenomenal amount from all of them. And obviously what they're all doing to keep striding forward within the fashion sector, as that's where all of them worked, and hence what brings us all together under the FashMash umbrella. Needless to say, we also talked about challenges. You know, everybody is facing those, and even though COVID may be hopefully subsiding and easing for many of us in terms of lockdown, that brings many of its own struggles. So lots of around things like readjusting to working in the office again, and the pros and cons of doing so, and many, many others. So lots and lots to dig into, lots of which we'll touch on again today.
So really, I just actually want to get our guests straight on today, because I feel like let's get these brilliant women to join us, and that's the best way that we can have a proper conversation. Hello.
Brilliant.
Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to see you both. Look, I think you can introduce yourselves better than anyone, so I would love it if we could just begin with, well, Ashedzi, would you like to say a little bit about what you do now and your background?
Hello everybody, lovely to be here. I'm so excited to be here actually. So I'm part of the FashMash team, working with Rosanna and Rachel, the lovely Rosanna and Rachel, and I've been part of the team for nearly a year now. Wow, it's like about 8 months, right? It's been amazing. So support pretty much in the day-to-day running of the community, working on content research, all through to things like external consulting projects, and also ex Young Pioneer as well, as you mentioned. And I've come from a background of financial services, so I'm currently in the career transition from financial services as a management consultant into the fashion world. So that's a bit about myself.
And I love that. And I love that, you know, it was so exciting for us last year when we were getting applications through for the mentoring scheme, and seeing the diversity of fields that people were applying from, and knowing that the mentors that we had on board would definitely be able to support them in career transitions or career development. Rosette, how about you? Tell us more about what you do.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Rosette. So yeah, I'm a FashMash alumni, I guess. So as part of the mentoring scheme, teamed up with Ahmed, the lovely Ahmed from L'Oreal. And I guess, yeah, my day job is in social media. So I was previously an analyst, and also a content creator alongside that as well. And then I also have a sustainable fashion brand called Revival London, all about taking discarded textiles and redesigning them into cool and contemporary new pieces that can be worn. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, everybody do check out Revival London. They did a brilliant round of crowdfunding. That's it, this summer. And we were delighted to be able to contribute to that, and it was a big success. So I'm sure we'll cover that more. Huge success.
Huge success.
Right down to the wire, and I love that adrenaline rush of it all.
That you 30 days.
So exciting. No, it was absolutely incredible, and it'd be really good to hear more about that, and also I guess where you've sort of grown from since then. But I think maybe as a little starting place, otherwise it'd be really good to hear from you both a little bit about your experience with your Young Pioneers mentor, not revealing any secrets obviously, but you know, what you gained from them and the experience of working with someone so closely, in terms of, obviously our subject today is about empowering female talent, so how they helped empower you with your world and your work.
Yeah,
who would like to go first? Go for it, Rosette. Yeah, jump in.
It was amazing. So it was a 6-month program, quite intense, but very like essential for growth. I was paired with the lovely and she is head of content marketing at Senya. She was amazing. She helped me build confidence just in my transition in my career, and also just understanding how the industry works, especially the luxury fashion space, and just give me insight into like the workings of it, the target audience. So I learned quite a lot about the actual industry, and also like just build confidence in terms of how to grow from your career, how to progress, and just sort of tips that was really useful.
That's brilliant to hear. And I have to say, I also think you were such a great match in personalities. I think so often when one is considering empowering female talent and mentoring, you have to make sure that it's a good gel of personalities, and you are both equally vivacious and affable.
That's true.
Thank you.
So true.
Rosette, how about you? You mentioned you work with Ahmed at L'Oreal.
Yes, I think he's head of digital at L'Oreal, I think. But yeah, he taught me a lot about brand storytelling. So I think that was like the main focus over the 6 months, just trying to get the story behind Revival out there to people. And I think that's what people want to see more of, rather than just you selling products to them. Actually, what is the story behind the brand? How did it come about? And just getting to know the brand, and me, of course, behind the brand a lot more personally. So I think that was the main thing that we focused on over the 6 months. And yeah, he was just really amazing, really supportive, helped me a lot with the Kickstarter as well. So that involved a lot of storytelling and really putting my heart onto that Kickstarter page. So yeah, he helped me so much.
You really did. And he was so proud of you with the success of your crowdfunding campaign. It, like, if it's possible to radiate from a LinkedIn post, he definitely did. Is that possible? I don't know, but he definitely achieved it.
Literally.
And I think it's also worth saying that all the mentees, and you guys especially, you both especially, empowered your mentors. You know, Rachel and I would have regular catch-ups with the group, and everybody was saying, oh my gosh, it's made me look at my career in a different way. It's made me realize that I have a skill set, and I'm very good at kind of advising people, and I didn't realize I had that. So it works both ways.
I think it also made everybody sit up a little bit and be like, oh my goodness, I need to be doing more with my life. These young people are so like on it, are so proactive. There was lots of that of being amazed at how prepared everyone was, and all of these side hustles that you all have.
Yes.
And, that was super inspiring.
Definitely. Absolutely. Oh yeah, every time I meet anyone remotely younger, the side hustle envy is real. I would love to know now, Rosette, maybe we go to you first. What are the challenges that you're facing in the industry at the moment?
I think the challenges I've been facing, I think the financial side of things is definitely one, especially as a Black woman as well. Those two things don't necessarily work in my favor in terms of gaining grants and like different, financial resources and things like that. So that's been a challenge for the past few years, I think. But obviously with the crowdfund and having the community sort of get involved, that's definitely been a massive help. But I also think there's a lot of connections that needs to be made. And also, again, being Black and being a woman, maybe necessarily kind of get left out of certain conversations, or you're not brought into certain opportunities. So I think that's been also a struggle as well, finding those connections and being able to, for example, find production or, work with certain people. Oh, sorry, my eyes watering. Getting a bit emotional. I think yeah, finding those connections and being able to meet those people and actually progress with my business has been a challenge overall over the past few years.
I think it's so
Yeah.
important to raise that. How do you feel you've navigated it, given the fact that those are fundamental challenges that you face that unfortunately are really inherent in this industry or in society full stop right now?
I think looking at alternative ways of funding has definitely been an option for me. Wow, sorry, my eyes are really on one today.
I get that.
We can't see, but I know what you mean. It's the early morning. Well, not that this is that early, but it's the morning.
I think that trying to find alternative routes to those, bits of funding has definitely been something I've looked into. So obviously with the crowdfunding is a way to get around that, sort of get people involved and get the whole community sort of, supporting the cause. So that's the way I've tried to navigate around it. But still also reaching out to people and trying to still network and build those connections constantly. So going to events, meeting people and trying to build that network has been a continuous way to, I guess, try and build and navigate and penetrate the industry in some way.
Do you feel you're getting a different response now you've had the crowdfunding, like as a bit of a baseline proof point?
I think certain people are looking at me like, oh, okay, actually, this is quite legit now.
Yeah.
There's a bit more respect maybe behind the brand and stuff. So I think that's definitely helped to boost the profile and help me to access a few more things. So yeah, it's definitely helped.
Good.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I mean, it's so unfortunate in so many ways that we have to sort of have something. I mean, you were so successful with that, but have something so significant just to prove yourself. But obviously when you have these inherent barriers, I mean, all credit to you. You've done a phenomenal job of it. And I think, hopefully one day you'll be in a position to be able to say, see, I told you.
Yes.
And that's the sort of ultimate goal, isn't it, for all of us, to be able to just prove yourself and be like, I told you should have believed in me right from the beginning. I was onto something. Totally. What about you, Ashedzi?
Yeah, I totally agree with Rosette, because I think making a connection whilst in the pandemic is quite tricky because a lot of events are virtual now. So how do you network after the Zoom calls? You see what I mean? You kind of do it online, but it's not the same. The effect's different, I guess. Meeting people real life and obviously online, LinkedIn and stuff like that. So I'll say that definitely. And also I feel like the industry that I sort of like wanted to transition in from finance is sort of different from what I had expected it to be because of the pandemic. So it's currently going through like a lot of structural change. So I'm trying to understand exactly where I want to go as well within the industry, because like some of the roles that like I was looking at before, kind of career paths, don't really exist in the way they used to. Even like the fashion weeks and the schedules, like everything's different now. So trying to understand more, like sort of like understand the industry how it is now and adapt to that. I think that's also a challenge. And obviously being like Rosette mentioned, like female as well. Like I think diversity is getting better, but it's still like a long way to go as well. So just understanding where like my place is within that industry in a way, and how far I can go, and seeing like role models like Edward and for people like that who are breaking boundaries. So like understanding that I can actually do this other thing. So I think it's still a challenge because you're like sort of confidence to go for certain like roles, knowing that no one has done that looks like you before. I think is the challenge for me at the moment.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh
yeah, go on. And then you go.
I think also being part of like smaller groups, so like people actually creating their own spaces for Black and brown women as well has been a game changer as well. So I think being part of like a group called Sisters in Sustainability is like a group of Black and brown women in that space, sort of encouraging each other, sharing opportunity with each other. That's been a real game changer as well. And I think that community feel has definitely felt like, we belong here and like we're creating our own space as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to just say that a big part of it comes down to a quote that a fellow mentee, Hayden, it's on if everybody has a look at our Instagram feed, he shared it on Sunday. And it's just, he works at L'Oreal, and it is simply, he hopes that the brands that are saying on camera, in front of the camera, in their ad campaigns, let's have diversity. Let's hope that there's actually diversity behind the camera. And, obviously there's been a lot of discussion and a lot of action statements from brands in the last 16 months. But let's hope that change happens long term in the workforce, because certainly from what you're both saying, that the change is needed.
Yeah, and I love this isn't one of the questions that we sort of said to you in advance that we'd ask, but Ashedzi, you just mentioned there that piece around role models. So I hope you don't mind me both asking you like whether there are specific role models that you do look at in this industry and think are you know, incredibly empowering to you? Because I totally agree that's such an important part of this world.
Well, I can go first. I have to like think of like a specific person, but yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
I think there are a few people that I look up to in terms of like sustainable fashion and that side of things. Like certain bloggers and people who are like gaining traction in the field. So like Emma Slade Edmondson, it's like a really major like sustainable fashion blogger. Like, yeah, she's amazing.
She's a friend of FashMash.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, like I love her content. I love how she's always pushing sustainability and like doing it in a very authentic way as well. So I think there's certain people in the space that I really look up to, and I see their content and I'm like, yeah, that's like an aspirational, like, you know, thing that I want to be doing more of as well.
That's amazing. Yeah. Emma will be so chuffed.
Yeah, we'll tag her when we put this live.
Yes. Yeah. And I think also just sustainable designers that I see coming up, there's quite a lot of small brands popping up as well. And I think connecting with them, collaborating with them, it just like bouncing ideas off of them is like inspiring as well. And it just feels like a hub of creativity. So yeah, I'm currently trying to connect with a few more small brands and like do small collaborations. So they're definitely inspiring me with their sustainable and upcycle designs as well.
I love that. I love the idea that actually there of course is that view of like senior people in the industry to look up to, but there's also your peers, and actually that's really what FashMash has always been about. It's around, you know, who you know that's on the same journey as you that you can learn from simultaneously, and I think there's so much value in that.
Definitely.
Ashedzi, how about you? Who are yours?
My turn now. Okay. So I'll say Edward Enfield and Vanessa Kagura, not necessarily because of what they do, but mostly because of the impact that they're making in the industry. And I think, obviously, I'm quite interested in going down the path of like working in publications or maybe like in journalism. But I think just the impact they've made at one of the like major publications in the world, it just shows that it can be done. And I think that really inspires me to like keep going for things that I think I'm not too sure if I can do, because I've seen other people do something like that in the space where they're the first, they're like a change maker or like a trailblazer. So I think those two really like inspired me just to like keep pushing, go for new things.
I love, and I think they're such a brilliant duo as well. And I also love the fact, particularly Vanessa, you can really, when she's on quite a lot of podcasts now, she's on quite a lot of webinars, so you can really learn from her and glean a lot. Gosh, she's brilliant. She really is.
Totally. So I mean, on that note, one of the things we were thinking about a bit, and we talked about in our session last week, and obviously related to today's topic about women supporting women, we'd love to hear from you both about how important you think it is to empower other women today, and whether you're actively doing so, and how, just in terms of continuing to pass that on, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's massively important. I think women, we're not prioritized in a lot of industries. So we definitely need to support each other and sort of help each other progress in any way we can. I think the way I am currently supporting women, I guess, is like working with female makers, so local makers, and also Black and brown women specifically as well. So I currently just work with TN Tailors, run by Talv, a lady called Talv. And she's amazing. Like, she's made some of the revival pieces for me, and I just think ways in which like putting money in their pockets as well is definitely a form of empowerment as well. So
gosh, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I always try and find like female local makers and try and work with them on small projects, or just hire like interns as well who are Black and brown women as well. So that's definitely a priority for me in terms of revival and work.
Love that.
Yeah. Ashedzi, and actually, I just wanted to say before we go over to Ashedzi, you say the financial one is I think you were like, oh, it's a small thing or it's an obvious one, but actually that's one of the most important ones, because the most obvious way in which women are not empowered and have not been for decades is the pay gap.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what actually one of the, I don't want to say simplest, because obviously a pay rise isn't always viable for all business models, but it's one of the most important ones to make sure that everybody is justifiably paid, and that you're seeking out female workers for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Ashedzi, how about you?
Yeah, I totally
And this
agree.
can be on a personal level. It doesn't have to just be on a work level.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like empowering women is very important, and I don't think I currently have like a formal way which I do it, but in the past I've had like mentoring programs where I've mentored others, like in finance and stuff like that, or been part of certain groups. But I think it's just, for me, it's more like a personal, like day-to-day thing. Even just if my friends have businesses or anything that they need help with, I know I can support them with, or recommendations or connections, just things like that. Like, you know, I can help them with their business growth or their personal goals. I just try to like share things with people, or send like, use my advice or my experience. So I just think like it's more like a day-to-day habit for me. Like even just sharing people's content, or like their business promotions and stuff on my stories to like my 6,000 followers. Just not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but I'm sure you can get like 1 or 2 customers that, I guess, puts money like in their pocket, like Rosette said. So I think I'm trying to just be much more like, I guess, supportive of others. And I'd love to do more as well. But I think you guys are amazing, by the way, in supporting women. Let's just put that out there. Yeah, like in the program.
Well,
just, yeah.
I was about to say that you two have both done an amazing job of empowering us, it must be said.
Yeah.
Actually, we've been so rewarded and inspired by working with all of you from our Young Pioneers over the past year. It's been such a pleasure. That sounds like it's ending, like our relationship's closing. It's not. This is a lifetime now, guys.
So many, it's forever. I think also something that's really important to say is a lot of people might think that the fashion industry is dominated by women, and therefore a very safe space, and that we don't have the hurdles that other industries do, where they're perhaps more male dominated. But actually, in my experience, what happens is men are still treated often as having an opinion that is of more value, perhaps because they're in a minority in the fashion industry, and they are still given more room to be heard. And I think that's actually a really interesting case study. You know, so many of my friends who work in more traditional industries just think, oh well, that shouldn't be a problem in fashion because it's, you know, it's an industry run by women. Look at the leaders. But actually, and also, Rachel, I bet you can back me up with a great stat here. I bet the C-suite is stuffed full of white middle-aged men.
I don't have a stat off the top of my head, but I can guarantee you the C-suite is male.
Exactly.
For sure. You know, the numbers of women is vast across the whole organisation, but it goes narrower and narrower, obviously, as it goes to the top. And that's the piece that we definitely need to change, from both a gender and obviously a race perspective as well. And it is really inspiring to see that it is starting to happen. Some of those names are, as we've said, being those role models and inspiring all of the rest of us to keep working in that direction, because I think it's really easy as a woman without that to lose your ambition. You know, to just sort of, it kind of goes by the wayside as you spend more and more time in this industry. So yeah, credit to all of you all of us that are slogging away in that fashion. Brilliant. Well, guys, thank you. This has been incredible.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me too. I really enjoyed it.
And everybody watching, if you would like to donate to the Prince's Trust, they are doing brilliant work, particularly in focusing on the plight and hurdles that women have faced overall since the pandemic, and ongoing since the pandemic. So we will put a link to donate in our stories afterwards. And big thank you to our sponsor, Klaviyo, and we will be back next month with another live.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.